Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I wanted to talk about what to expect from the Cleveland Cavaliers this NBA season. I think it's going to be an interesting one, especially for them because of the acquisitions that they made and just what's going to happen with Kevin Love is one of the biggest questions. And I think let's get right into it. What do you guys think the Cleveland Cavaliers record will be? I think this team definitely can be a playoff team. They have the potential to be a playoff team. I mean, you can argue that for every single NBA team that they could be a playoff team. But in the sense that this team has the players, the coach, I think they have a great coach. And I think their young guys are ready to take that next leap. So I think at the very least, this team will be a play-in team. I think they'll definitely be a play-in team. I doubt at all that they'll not be a play-in team. This team has too much talent not to be in the play-in. And if they do not be better than the play-in, I can see them being like the 7th seed, the 8th seed, that they have to defend. I think the play-in's so complicated, and if you guys want, it's like play-in. But anyway, this isn't what the video is about. It's just I think this team definitely can make the play-in tournament. So let's get right into it and talk about the roster. Let me hear your comments down below. What do you think the team's record is going to be? Because last year, the Cavaliers' record was not as bad as people would have thought, okay? Last year, they were all right. And I'm right here pulling it up. They were 22-50, which was 4th out of 5th. They weren't the worst team in their conference. Like, in the sense that I'm trying to put a good spin onto, like, how bad their season was. They were able to score, and there was good moments in there, okay? I think you got to look at that and say there was good moments on that team that they could take the jump and be like a 41 team, okay? Kevin Love, Jared Allen, Ricky Rubio, Lauri Markkanen, or I just found, it's Lowry, like Lowry. Someone just told me, it was like, I watched the video, it's Lauri Markkanen, right? Lauri Markkanen, Cedi Osman, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Colin Sexton, Dylan Windler, Damian Dotson, Dean Wade. Someone tell me how to say this guy. He was traded from the Clippers last year. Maifondu Kabenigo, Taco Fall, Lamar Stevens, and so this team is interesting, okay? And I had no idea they had added Taco Fall. So shout out Taco Fall for catching on to an NBA roster. As a Boston Celtics, my dad's a Celtics fan, so he signed a non-guaranteed deal, so he's not expected, it's going to be a long shot for him to make the roster, but they have 15 players and they don't have anyone two-way, so he might be making the roster. So I think the center rotation is going to be Jared Allen as the starter and Evan Mobley as the primary backup, but I think Evan Mobley is going to be starting at power forward, maybe not to start the year, but by the end of the year, it's going to be Evan Mobley and Jared Allen starting. I think Lauri Markkanen is going to be the starting power forward to start the year, and I think we will see the trio towers going out. We're going to see the triplet towers, okay? I think we're going to see some lineups where it's going to be Sexton, Darius Garland, and Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen out there. Markkanen's going to be spacing the floor as a three-point shooter. Evan Mobley will just be doing ISO and doing his thing. Jared Allen will be doing pick and rolls, consuming rebounds, and then Sexton and Garland will be scoring and doing what they need to do, okay? But I expect Ricky Rubio to be the sixth man for this team. I expect the starting lineup to be Darius Garland, Colin Sexton in the backcourt. Starting small forward, that's where it gets interesting because you have a few options. I believe it'll be Isaac Okoro and with Cedi Osman as his backup. And I think the other small forward who will be part of that, it's probably going to be the small forward rotation will be at the beginning of the year, I believe Isaac Okoro, Dylan Windler, Cedi Osman, and I think they'll try one of the power forwards. I don't think Lamar Stevens and Dean Wade have the size, but I think they're more suited to be fours, okay? Maybe they'll try out the 3 spots, but I really think the only one out of those power forwards who could be playing the 3 spot, I don't think Kevin Love can. I mean, maybe they try Kevin Love there, but I think they're going to buy out Kevin Love. I don't think Kevin Love's going to be on this roster at the end of the year. So I look at this and I go, okay, let's go Isaac Okoro as the starter, Dylan Windler and Cedi Osman as the primary backups for the small forward spot. And then by the end of the year, I think we will have seen Lauri Markkanen play some of the small forward position. And then backup shooting guard behind Colin Sexton, who's the starting shooting guard, is going to be Damian Dotson. And I think that's where I'm looking at. I think it's Damian Dotson and then Dylan Windler, maybe Okoro, but I think Okoro is more of a small forward. Okay, and he can play some small ball four. I also think we will see a small ball lineup of Jared Allen, Isaac Okoro, maybe either Dylan Windler, Dotson, or Jetty Osman, or even Ricky Rubio as the because we could so basically the small ball lineup I think could be Ricky Rubio, Sexton, Garland, Okoro, Allen, okay, or Okoro, Sexton, Garland, and either Windler, who's a good rebounder for his size and his position, or Jetty Osman because they're both good shooters. Okay, but you could see Ricky Rubio if they want a second facilitator, but I also like the idea better of Jetty Osman or Dylan Windler, specifically Dylan Windler at the small forward position next to Okoro at the power forward position with Allen at the center. Then you have Sexton and Garland at point guard and shooting guard. Then you go over, I think really like the main starters, like I've said, the starter lineup's going to be Garland, Sexton, Okoro. I guess to start the year, I doubt Kevin Love's going to even start at all this season. So Lowry Markkanen, Jared Allen, and then primary backups are going to be Ricky Rubio, Evan Mobley. Then you go Jetty Osman, Dylan Windler, Kevin Love. I guess like it starts to gets interesting because right there you got like 10 guys already. I would take Kevin Love out of there, and I'd rather see some Dean Wade because Dean Wade's better than that. So I think the guys that we're not going to really see are the bottom of the roster is going to be Taco Fall, Kembengal, Lamar Stevens, and maybe Damian Dotson. I think Damian Dotson will get some minutes because he's such a good shooter. I mean, he didn't have a lights out year last year, but he's still one of their best shooters on their team, and shooting was one of their struggles last year that they had. And he played 20 minutes a night for them last year, and he was awful for shooting. He shot 29% from three. So Damian Dotson, a guy who spent 2 years on the Knicks, but 3 years on the Knicks, but the last 2 years he was a 37% shooter, was terrible for them. So Damian Dotson might not get any playing time if he can't hit that three-point shot. Dean Wade and Lamar Stevens are good, but they're both similar players to Kevin Love, and I think Kevin Love has to get bought out because he's just taking up minutes from these young guys, and I just don't think he's going to be a positive impact for this team. And the one thing that I get scared looking at this team, rebounding's not a problem. Interior defense is not a problem. I think it's three-point shooting is the biggest thing because Garland can shoot it. Sexton can shoot it. Sexton isn't the best three-point shooter, okay? I'll admit that, but Garland's a great three-point shooter. Garland can rip it, okay? Sexton, like he's the guy who's averaged over 20 points the last 2 years, and Sexton's a 38% career three-point shooter, and he was 37 last year. I'm not saying anything. He isn't a terrible three-point shooter. I love Colin Sexton. I think he's a good he's a good shooter. It's just every year he's taking less three-point shots. His first year he shot 4.5, almost 5 threes a game. Now he's shooting only 3.5. I don't know if that's just me looking too much into it. I still think he's a great three-point shooter. So it's the three-point shooters really are Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Dylan Windler, Jetty Osman, Lowry Markkanen, and then you could say Dean Wade, Kevin Love, and Lamar Stevens are all like on the same level. They're like three-point. They can shoot the three-point shots, but they're not elite. So like this team is like they don't have, besides Garland and Sexton, I hope they have enough shooting. Okay, I think there's enough scoring with Garland, Evan Mobley, Sexton, Lowry Markkanen. I think we'll do enough scoring wise. Passing, I'm not worried about. I think perimeter defense, the one thing that could get me worried, because Isaac Okoro is their best perimeter defender. Then I look at this roster, besides Ricky Rubio, there isn't really any good. So really their best defender, interior defense, as long as Jared Allen or Evan Mobley or even, Taco Fall is out there, I think their interior defense is going to be fine. But I get scared about their perimeter defense because besides Isaac Okoro and Ricky Rubio, I'm not convinced that this team can play good D. So let me know your thoughts down below, guys. That's it for me. I'm done rambling for like 10 minutes.